the race events are now done, and I think for the finale of this game, there is one more thing I feel like I need to do, and I have now decided that one thing I need to do is showcase arcade mode, and also because, well, I really want to just, well, showcase pretty much the 5 bikes that I won from the Special Machine Festival. Also, FYI, after you've won the TT World Series, the title screen does actually change sequences from the, well, I guess you could say from the frontal view of the S-Benz at Suzuka, basically over to this sequence of, well, I guess you could say gameplay takes from completing the game, I think is the point I'm trying to get across. Anyway, let's head on to arcade mode. And of course, I will be racing. So, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this miniature showcase of me pretty much racing at tracks which I did not really get to race at in the game itself, but I haven't quite figured out how I'm gonna put this out there. So, I think where we're gonna start is we're gonna head to the first track that we didn't get to race at, and that will be this, Twin Ring Motegi West. In other words, pretty much the short track layout, if you will. And if I can find it in here, unless these are just racing bikes, then in which case they very well could be. But I am prepared to have a look since this is my first time doing this. And nope, doesn't look like they want to show up. They must just be available in time trial mode, unfortunately. But anyway, I think first and foremost, I'm going to showcase the Yoshimura GS 1000R, Yoshimura XR69. Nice. To open this up. And I've never actually done this before, but I gotta say, these equipment combos, they're actually pretty cool. And in all honesty, I quite like them. And you know what? Just to go with street form for this, I'll select this. And I'll keep my street riding form as neutral. And well, just because I want to get this out of the way, I think I'll... Oh, that's cool. We can actually see what equipment types we're wearing as well, in terms of our helmets, our overalls, and also everything else. But anyway, so here we are, and it doesn't tell me how many laps we're doing. Oh well. Oh, okay, we're just doing 2 laps. You know what, I'm okay with that. Even though I'm not exactly showing these bikes in ascending order, I figured it was more or less a suitable way for me to pretty much send off this game and, well, just simply ride off into the sunset. And already I am in trouble, unsurprisingly. But I am convinced in saying that I can get to the front, as long as I don't overshoot the corners too much. And already just like that, I get out front, in spite of me racking on the first lap, and second time around, I get it right. This is probably one of the very few tracks I did not race at in this game. I figured I might as well showcase the other two racing courses that I didn't race at as well whilst I'm at it. And all in all, pretty close race. So the Honda CB750F was second, then we had the Yamaha XJR in third, and in last it was the Kawasaki Zephyr 1100. And you know what? I'm going to save the replay just because I don't have one at Motegi West in terms of race events. So, saving this as my 51st episode, also the finale of this game. Also, I find it hard to believe that I am actually recording the finale of this game on Friday the 13th of all days. In other words, I'm recording this on Friday, December the 13th. And that is now the first of my arcade mode races showcased. So, you know what? I think for the next one, let's head to Motorland, because I figured why not. I've showcased one of my racing bikes, and now I have to showcase the others. So this is my next one, the Suzuki GSX 1100S Katana. And in terms of my riding gear, yeah, I'll use this. And again, going with the softs. I also figured, well, because this game isn't really too large for me to not do some sort of showcase here, I might as well just, you know, end it off with some racing. And this time, we've got a Kawasaki ZRX 1200, along with a Yoshimura GS 1000R, ironically the bike I just rode. We also get the Honda CB 1300 Super 4, and of course at the back there is me. Just figured I'd mention that. So once again, 2 laps around Motorland. I don't think this race is going to take me too long to finish. Don't really care if I win or lose at this stage. I'm mainly just here to quite literally showcase the bikes that I won from our last event. And up to this point, not doing too badly. And I got pushed a little bit wide there as I went round the outside, but that's okay because I still managed to come away with the race lead. And don't want to run too wide there. Got to at least keep my car on the road long enough. I have no idea why that keeps happening. It's honestly like I'm just saying to myself, what the fuck, man? Whenever something like that just happens, and there's basically nothing I can do about it. I'm pretty sure my controller is plugged in. It just feels like there always has to be just this fucking blip on the radar somewhere, where for want of a better phrase, my response to the bike just freezes. And then basically just like that, I'm left wondering to myself, okay, why did you feel the need to do this to me? That's kind of the reaction I get. Even though there probably is a reason for it, but as to what that reason is, well, I have no fucking clue. And I think for our... Oh yeah, I didn't race at Hong Kong, did I? You know what, let's head to beginner course first, and then we'll get our last race in at fucking Hong Kong, since that's the other location I never raced at, ironically. So now, I need to find the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-12. I think that's the bike I used, if I recall correctly, for this next one. Actually, on second thoughts, let's use the Z1000 instead. And as for the riding gear, sure, why not? Okay. I just figured it was a good time for me to showcase the arcade mode side of the game. It's not really that much different from the race events, but I just figured it was a good time for me to showcase these bikes, and basically me just racing at, ironically, the 4 courses that I never raced at in the game itself, for whatever reason. And already up into second, pretty much picked off the first 2 relatively easily. I think that was the Buell that just hit me from behind there, but that's okay because I still shoot through to take the lead. And so, heading through the chicane, and heading through turns 3 and 4, running a little bit wide there, but it's okay, as it takes me less than a minute to set 2 laps around beginner course, unsurprisingly. So 2.1 seconds to the Yamaha, 3 seconds to the Buell, and less than 5 seconds to the Triumph. It also kind of sucks to say that most of the time we don't get any real passing in this game, which is kind of weird. But again, because this game had a short development time, I can understand why they didn't exactly get enough time to improve the aggression of the AI, if you know what I'm talking about. As in, I think that's probably the main reason why there isn't really much action in terms of racing. So let's now head over to Hong Kong for what will probably be the final race that I do in this game. And if I can find it, I will be using the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-12, and I do. Also, kind of sucks to say that we only get one colour scheme with most of these racing variant bikes. And, you know, I do get the idea of that, but I think it is kind of obvious after a while when you know that there are multiple racing bikes that just have pretty much the same livery over and over again. And maybe that's just me, but after a while it does get... Actually, I'm convinced in saying I'll be just fine with the mediums, because I've won the first 3 races without any real dramas. Well, except for that one drama I had at the end of Motorland, which, in all honesty, still surprises me, but anyway. So this time we've got a Honda CBR 1000, MV Augusta F4, and the Yamaha YZF R1 for what will probably be the last race I do in this game. And it will be 2 laps around the streets of Hong Kong. We will see how we go. And then, I think after this I'll probably do 1, maybe 2 laps around... Oh, yeah, I definitely jumped there, but it's okay because I do regain control of the Kawasaki. And now, I close in on the Yamaha and pass him for 3rd position. Have to get on the brakes hard there for that sharp hairpin. And now, heading through the right-hander. And up to this point, I'd say we're doing okay. And through that right-hander. Now, I set off after the leading Honda. So, closing in on the Honda CBR 1000, as I'm right here in the harbour section of Hong Kong, and scraped the wall just a little bit there, but that's okay because, well, everything for now seems to be okay. So 1.2 seconds is the gap. Can I catch up to the Honda? I am hopeful in saying that I can. And can I get the manoeuvre done? I'm up the inside. A little bit of contact there, not quite. I did have to go for it. I'd say that was fair and just. And not going to get many more chances to pull off the pass for the win. So this is going to be a close one. I think I've got him now. Okay, just got to cover the inside and then I think I should have it. And there we go. I win! I gotta say, it is nice to say that Hong Kong definitely gave me an interesting last race, in all honesty, and I'm actually glad to see that, knowing that the last race actually became a rather competitive race. But anyway, there we go. Actually, on second thoughts, yeah, actually, I will replace my actually, do I really need to replace my replay? Okay, second thought. Okay. I'm going to revert to my original plan and stick with the Yoshimura. Because I want to stick with that bike as my clickbait evidence to send off the game. And now that the racing is done, I think all that's really left for me to do now is to do... let's do a time trial. And I will do my time trial. Huh. Got some interesting choices here. Let's do Monaco. Let's not do Monaco. Let's see. Costa di Amalfi. And got the Italian street course. Seattle. Where else can we head? El Capitan. I'm pretty sure the Nürburgring is somewhere in here as well. Yeah, it is. Let's see. You know what? I think just to end off this game, I think I'm gonna head to Seattle, because that's one place I never went to in the... I think I'll head to Seattle. And... that's interesting. Although it's not too surprising. So I just need to find the Suzuki Hayabusa that I won in, I think it was, is it available in here? Or is it not? Let's have a look. No, that's not it. I'm pretty sure it was the Hayabusa that I won. Unless that's further on. Yeah, it must be further on. Okay. Well, it should be in here somewhere, because I did see it once before. I'll just have to find it. Yeah, here it is. The Suzuki GSX 1300R Hayabusa Special Colour. And in terms of the riding gear, well, I want it to be street style. So you know what? Yeah, I'll go with this. And street tyres and riding form, I'll keep that neutral. And I think what I'm going to do is probably 2, maybe 3 laps around Seattle, and then after this, I'll deliver my closing thoughts on the game. Because I figured since this was a street bike, it would be necessary for me to end this off by delivering 2 flying laps as I head through the chicane, and we'll see how we go. Not going to go particularly hard here, but I figured whilst I was here, and whilst this was still single player, and because I cannot race the street bikes, as I now know, since this is my... since this is now my first time doing arcade mode in this game. And yep, this bike does not like to jump, and I've fallen off. Okay, I need to remember to brake for the fucking jumps that come up. Or in other words, I at least have to lift. I think I can understand why they never put Seattle in the race events. Because those jumps do make it pretty awkward. So, this is more or less my outlap, and then I think the next lap I do will probably be the flying lap. And gotta get on the brakes a bit earlier than usual because, well, there's another jump there. And now heading through the bus stop. And... okay. This lap is not going very well at the moment. Probably doesn't help to say that I am technically using a pretty heavy bike here. But, either way, I figured this might as well be the bike that I end off this game with, since unfortunately I cannot really race it. So my first lap has been set, and now I just have to try and set a second lap, and where hopefully I will not be wrecking myself as much. So... oh god. Shit, okay. I somehow stay on board. In spite of me still getting it wrong on the jumps, I did at least manage to get out of the jump section relatively unscathed that time around, which in all honesty is what I wanted. But there we go. And through the final corner. Well, through the next right-hander, and now heading through. Okay, I'm gonna have to set a third lap here now because I just fell off. Yeah, I'm gonna have to set a third lap now because, well, I did not like the way that looked. But somehow, some way, I'm gonna be just less than a tenth faster because I fell off right before the end. So, gotta go deep here. I'm also going to assume that for some reason my ghost has switched off and I hit the outside wall. Okay, and just got to lift here. Make sure that I do get through the corner this time. Okay. That's better than what I did before. And my ghost is right behind me. However, this run, I can certainly say, is going just a little bit smoother than my previous run was. But I have to make sure that this time around, I do not make the same mistake I did last time. Okay, just gotta stay on the bike now. Okay, take it easy, take it easy. Okay, I managed to avoid going too deep into the corner this time. And through the last right-hander. And now heading through the chicane. A little bit of a lift there. Get back on the power, and looks like the best time I'm going to set here is probably a 1:49.0. And you know what? I'm okay with that. So that's pretty much arcade mode done and dusted in terms of its showcase form. And I will most likely not be doing this in Gran Turismo 4 because, well, the game itself, because, well, Gran Turismo 4 is already long enough as it is. I might consider doing a separate showcase for arcade mode in GT4 at some point, but either way, that's pretty much everything I can show you in the arcade mode side of Tourist Trophy. And now, I think it's time for me to deliver my closing thoughts on the game, whilst I'm in the mood for it. So, there we go. It's done. We have officially done it. Although, I should probably check one more thing whilst I'm here. Just because, well, I want to check and see one last thing in the challenge mode to make sure that I don't win any further bikes. Because, well, you know this Honda FTR that we started off with? Well, ultimately, I'm convinced in saying that we cannot win another model of this. And well, because I did not showcase this in the first episode of the game when I essentially went for all the free bikes, I figured I might as well just give the first bike I started with in this game a suitable send-off point, even though I'm pretty sure I'm not going to win anything, but I just figured I'd get this one out of the way. Just to basically prove a point in saying that once you have acquired a bike from the challenge mode, you cannot win any duplicates. I really cannot believe I found it that hard to just get the word duplicate out. But anyway, I just figured I'd do that because, well, yeah, we don't win any copycat versions. Okay, so now that I've got that out of the way, let's now get on with the closing thoughts of the game. So, there we go. That now concludes our tourist trophy adventure. And I gotta say, it's been a really fun ride altogether. I've definitely enjoyed every minute of playing this game. It's relatively easy in terms of the race events, but I can definitely say that arcade mode in the end certainly proved, of course, to be a bit more exciting than I thought it was going to be with the sprint races. And, well, it does kind of suck to say that you cannot race street bikes in the arcade mode. I do kind of wish that was possible, but unfortunately it isn't. And altogether, just the amounts of content that this game has altogether, you honestly would have thought for sure that the gobs of content that you saw in Gran Turismo 4 were almost unreplicable. But this game definitely showed that it was possible, because this game ironically also has gobs of content with every single bike that you can acquire in this game, for which the overall number of bikes in this game is 254. So in other words, that's virtually 250,000. And I think Gran Turismo 4 has at least, 720 cars altogether? But anyway, yeah. So, the content is definitely similar to that of GT4, and I also really like how with racing bikes you can actually change your racing number at any time when it comes to doing single race events. And the racing bikes, they do look pretty cool, but I kind of wish there were other colour schemes with the racing bikes instead of there just being the lone paint scheme, if you know what I mean, because I definitely feel like that would have made the experience of winning the racing bikes just a little bit more exciting than what it actually was. So I definitely feel like there could have been more colour choices among the racing bikes personally. Another thing that I think they could have improved on is putting in a bit more competition in the street bike racing events, where they could have actually included 4 opponents like they did with the race events, instead of it just being the head-to-heads that you go through to start with. And you know, I do get the idea of that, but it would have made more sense for there to be some actual competition, if you know what I'm talking about. And I also think the racing would have been just a little bit more enticing if the AI had just a little bit more aggression to them, and there was some real passing and or overtaking, if you know what I mean, because I mean it is racing at the end of the day, so I get why they weren't able to get this fitted in, but it would have been helpful if the AI for most of these race events were just a little bit more aggressive. And I only say a little bit, but I will defend this game in saying that it did have a short development time. So I will defend this game for that. And lastly, I don't think there's really any other areas they could have improved on with this game altogether. Because, well, to be perfectly honest, I still really love this game, and for the time, Polyphony, I think, altogether definitely showed that they could make a sim racing game that was exclusive to motorbikes, and they did that so well with this game. And it is fair to say that the models themselves, they also look like their real-life counterparts as well. So, I'll definitely give Polyphony a ton of kudos for making this game look about as Gran Turismo oriented as it could possibly be, but on 2 wheels instead of 4 wheels. And you should definitely give this game a try if you haven't done so already, because personally, I think this game altogether, it's really fucking good, and you should totally give it a test drive if you haven't done so already. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm ranting at this point, so I'm just going to do my usual closing thoughts outro. So, until the next video, guys and gals, I'm Jordan Mustang 87, saying thanks for watching, and until the next one, we'll see you over the sunset.